Hi, this is Dawn Morris and David Bedrin of Fit2beFree. How's everyone doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us for another podcast on you and about how we deal with our, I don't like to say issues. I try not to say problems.
Challenges, perhaps.
Challenges. I like that. Challenges. I hope everyone's doing well. And I want to introduce my bestie and also a fitness client, Mr. David Bedrin.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I know. We've been talking about it for weeks.
We have been waiting for this.
Tell us your background.
Okay. Well, I am a licensed clinical social worker and a psychotherapist. So I don't work exclusively in fitness, but I think this is a great intersection.
Me too.
Of our mental health and our physical health. And I think we have a lot to bring and a lot to share and a lot of love.
Do. A lot of love. Let me tell you guys how I met David. I was teaching classes, group fitness classes at the Lake Forest Recreational Center in Lake Forest, Illinois.
Shout out.
Little plug. And even though I'm no longer there, but David came in here. Right. Neither is David, but okay. David came in, he joined my 11:30 class, which was my cardio interval classes. And instantly we connected. We had such a great time. I loved my classes and I loved that class in particular. And we would have such a great time sweating and laughing in that class. And from that moment, we just became friends. We started hanging out and talking trash. And I knew that he was a friend when one day I was I had a bad day. You know, even Dawn has bad days. And I was venting. It was at the end of the class. And he's standing there dripping sweat. And he looks at me and he goes, well, you know, you could just be crazy. And I burst out laughing. At first I was like, did you just call me crazy?
That's a clinical term.
That is a clinical term. And I said, oh, I think we're going to be friends because no one calls me crazy. I call myself crazy. But it's been some years now. Mm-hmm. And after a lot of laughter and tears, David, I wanted to do a podcast, and David said during one of our training sessions, wouldn't it be great if we did a podcast together called D Squared? Well, we're Gen Xers, so everything has a title. I'm surprised he didn't say MC Squared or something like that, because everyone is an MC.
Right.
Right. When you're a Gen Xer, everyone's MC Dawn, MC David.
There you go.
And okay, whatever. But we decided that, you know what? We're going to do this because what we do for a living actually correlates.
Yes.
So what do you feel about this, David Bedrin?
Well, I think we just have, we hope our listeners enjoy what we have to say. I think we have a great energy, and I think we have a great knowledge, and we're just going to take us in different places. And we invite you listeners to reach out to us, and we'll give you contact information at the end. But we're getting on social media, and we have some information. We'd love to hear from you. So
let's get started. Okay, so if you listened to my last podcast, my first, yay. I went over 7 ways to become more disciplined. And we're going to backtrack, but we want to break it down more, because I think that I went so fast and I didn't delve deeply. So now that I have clinical psychologists here.
Well, no. I play one on TV.
We can really go into it, and I hope that this helps you. And we do give homework. I didn't give you homework last time. We're going to give homework.
Okay.
It's good stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you remember, and if you've been listening like you were supposed to, the 7 ways to become more disciplined. Number 1 was know your why. Yes, write these down. Mr. Buffett created these just for us little people. Track your progress. Do something you love. Create a daily schedule. Commit to someone else. Create a morning routine. Have a designated place to work. And discipline, what he says at the end is discipline is the very core of progress. But then David and I started talking, and we brought up how it's hard to do all of these things when you are constantly having the negative voice in your head, that negative self-talk, or you might not even have the negative self-talk. You might just be surrounded by negative people.
That's the other part. Yeah.
Yeah. So today we would like to discuss how to deflect all of that negativity so that you can progress. And David, what's the one thing we could do? One of the first things that we could do?
Well, I think you did a great job. It's negativity from within.
Yeah.
And negativity from outside of us, right? Maybe there's people, haters in our lives.
I love that word, by the way. It
right?
encompasses so many things.
It really is a good term,
It's
right?
a good term.
People who don't want you to succeed, right? So shall we start with the internal voice, the inner voice?
Right.
The inner dialogue, right? That is playing with us all the time, right? That self-talk. We call it self-talk. Nobody else hears it but us. You know, people might think they'd be crazy.
Yeah.
The voice in your head, or the voices in your head, but it's truly what we say to ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? So, as you were reading our list of the 7 ways to be disciplined, I was trying to come up with some self-talk that might be occurring, playing out, happening in the background.
Your head. Yeah.
In the background.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do that. Right? A negative.
My favorite word, and do you hear the dripping sarcasm? Can't.
Can't. Exactly. I can't do that. I don't know. Right? Is it a lesser form, but kind of can derail us
Right.
to not even take these steps? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know how.
It's almost like borrowing trouble. You haven't even come to that bridge. You haven't even tried to cross that bridge, and already the bridge is burnt.
Exactly.
It's torn up.
Right.
And I was thinking about when I was writing my notes, because everyone who knows me knows I love notes and lists. I love them. And I was thinking about the things I used to say to myself when I started becoming a personal trainer. And seriously, it was my 2 older sisters that bullied me into being a personal trainer. I would have never have done it because all of the negative self-talk that was going on. I'm too old. This is a young man's game. And I would say that this is a young man's game. You're going to be one of the few women. You're not going to be taken seriously.
Exactly. I'm not good enough.
I'm not good enough. What if I get hurt? What if? So I'm already stirring the pot. And it gives me an excuse not to try.
It's a filter. I think it's a filter. It's sort of like your prescription glasses or contacts, you know, and how you see the world, right? So if you come at fitness from a standpoint of I can't, I don't have the time, I don't,
My favorite.
you know, I whatever it is, right? Whatever the negative, it's negative, and you're going to catch that negativity
Yes.
in your statement. And I think that's one of our first steps is to be aware, right?
And that's with anything, you know, that's the first step of healing is to acknowledge that there is a problem. If you don't acknowledge it, then we can all pretend that it doesn't exist and you're not doing that, and it'll get better. No, it won't. It will not get better. I always say to people, this ain't my first time at the rodeo. Mm-hmm. I lost weight, I gained weight. Mm-hmm. I lost weight, I gained weight. Mm-hmm. This is the first time where I lost it and it stayed off for years. But it wasn't some magic that happened. I didn't take a magical pill. I didn't go on all of these programs. I made the decision to stop the nonsense and the negative talk. It even got to the point where, I know people thought I was crazy. Out loud, I would say, shut up. I was saying it to myself. Yes. Shut up.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really believe all of the nonsense that you're saying about yourself? And I bring up Lisa Nichols a lot. Lisa Nichols is a motivational speaker. I think she's out of Minneapolis. Was on The Secret. I really like her. And she said, first you write out all of the lies that you say about yourself. I love this exercise, by the way. And I really would like everyone to do it. On a piece of notebook paper, write down all of the lies that you say about yourself. And then under each lie, leave a space about 3 lines. And then under that, write the truth. Mm-hmm. Write the lies in pencil. Write the truth in pen. Mm-hmm. And the more successful you become, the bigger the lies. Mm-hmm. Because that's fear. Mm-hmm. When I first left the job, and I left Waukegan School District, woo, woo. Bulldogs forever. And I left. I remember I was literally shaking in my car when I went to the Lincoln Center to get my last check. I was crying in my car. I had been there 13 years. I was crying. I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to make it. I'm going to come back a failure. I'm going to have to get this job back. And and I had worked myself up into an anxiety attack. I'm sitting in the car having a full-blown anxiety attack. Mm-hmm. Then I stopped and I said, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Dawn, shut up. Mm-hmm. You get out of this car, you walk in there, you say goodbye to everyone, because everyone knew I was leaving. You grab that check, and you turn around, you walk out. And then you call all of the people that have your back, and I did. And one after another, you can do this. Hey, it's done. You already have a job lined up. You're already training. What are you talking about? But this is what we do.
Yeah, the self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. Right. And the more successful you become, the bigger the lie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Or not only the lie, but the half-truths that we tell ourselves.
Like?
I can't do this, which is a lie. But
doing it.
Right? Exactly. Half-truths of, there's so many examples. The idea that, maybe, the hesitation, I call that the half-truth.
The half-truth.
That tone, that approach, that feeling of uncertainty. Now, it is okay to feel a little uncertain. It's okay
I think that's
to be
natural,
nervous.
Right?
It's natural. That means this is important to you.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a feeling of uncertainty or nervousness, then it maybe isn't that important. You know?
Right.
So I think it's instructive to be like, yeah, I got to listen to this. Doesn't mean I can't do it, but I'm just going to listen to it. This is important.
And it is. And the more I note that you're right, because the more important it is, the bigger the fear. Mm-hmm. When I left the rec center, I don't even know why I was holding on to that job. I was only there 8 hours a week. Mm-hmm. At the end of it, I was only there 8 hours a week. Why are you holding on? Why aren't you leaving? Mm-hmm. And all of us get in that rut. Why are you why are you doing what you're doing? You are not happy. Talking to our producer and director, Vid, when I first met him, and he told me about going to school to be an engineer, and then he started doing photography and videos, and it touched me because that's his calling. This is his calling. And I felt the same way. It's not that we're not grateful for what we were doing. It's not that we're not grateful for the degree or the woo, whatever. But were we happy? Was I happy? I was grateful, but being grateful and happy are two different things. And I wasn't. I was bored. I wasn't happy. I was not finding joy in it. And so it's time to go. And you have to shut that voice up. Well, if you leave here, I was doing the same thing I did when I left the school district. If you leave here, how are you going to get new clients? Well, I think that I'm good enough to get new clients.
You know. I
know.
I can.
That's right.
That's the counter talk, right? The thought challenge to the negative thinking that we have, because it's like not the stereotypical proverbial angel on your shoulder and the little devil on your shoulder.
Yeah.
The negative is the devil.
Yeah.
Just saying, you can't do this, you know? And they're strong.
They are strong.
Very strong. That negative self-talk is very, very strong.
Which is why you have to say, shut up.
And that is a good first step.
Be quiet. What you're saying is not true. And this goes into, so once you acknowledge the negative self-talk, and now you have to deal with the outside forces. And younger, I had more to deal with that. As I got older and you come into yourself, I had less criticism or negative criticism. It became more of a critique. And I know there are some people who don't like being critiqued. I don't mind it. To me, it keeps me on my toes. In fact, I've asked people. I think I've asked you.
Sure.
Tell me. Tell me what I need to do. After my group fitness classes, I would leave little notes for them. Tell me what you would like to see in this class. Tell me how I can make your training better. If I don't agree, I don't agree. And that's fine. But take your ego out of it. We're not talking about that type of critique. We're talking about people in your life or lives who just are relentless with their put downs. Sometimes very aggressive, sometimes passive aggressive. So I was reading, because you guys know me and my reading. I get blogs from Medium, and I do love Medium, and you can download it to your phone. And this guy's name, his handle is Mr. Cab Driver, Mr. Cab Driver.
I love it.
Yeah, so did I. So do I. And he wrote a blog, Top 10 Ways to Deal with the Critics in Your Life. And I won't read the whole thing, but I do like his playlist. And I do believe that it's a game. And it's a game that you play with people, or you can choose not to play. That's something else. But his first one is understand the real reason for their criticism.
Don't take it at face value, right?
No.
Don't just listen to what the words they're saying.
What's the reasoning behind it? I remember when, sorry for all of the vocal pauses. I'm working on that audience, that It's a little tick. Get over it. I remember when I first started to lose weight, and everyone knows I've told you my story. I was 225 pounds. And then when I started to get into it, and that weight started to melt off, and I really started to love how I was looking, and you start to get that swagger, which I won't lie to you. Even when I was overweight, I thought I was the most beautiful thing on the earth. That wasn't my issue. But I did not like my thighs rubbing, so there's that. But you do. You start to stand up a little taller. You're feeling good about yourself. Yes. You're feeling healthier. And sure enough, people pick up that energy.
Definitely.
And there are some that, well, here goes the word, hating. Mm-hmm. And they will come at you.
Right.
I got from some, don't lose too much weight. You're going to look like a bobblehead doll. Mm. Well, sweetheart, Dawn likes food. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to look like a bobblehead doll. No worries there. Or, you're losing your butt. Don't ever say that to a black woman. Don't ever. And I would say, really? Oh, I'm clutching my invisible pearls. Really?
Pull the alarm. Sound the alarm.
As Beyonce said, ring the alarm. I'm losing my butt. No, you're not. Or you're changing. You're changing. Oh, this was my favorite one. Only dogs like bones, Dawn.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that was a nice dig. And I remember saying that, oh, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
You slept on that one, huh? You couldn't wait to get here. These are the things that people will say to you when you are changing. Do not take it personally. Right. Do not. And I know it's hard. I had to bite my tongue, sit down, and sit in it for a while and try to figure out why they were saying these things to me. And one of my good girlfriends who I loved, and I still do love her. We don't speak, but I still do love her because she had wonderful gems of wisdom. Mm-hmm. And she's an old lady at heart that she been here before, as we say. And she pulled me into my office, and I had told her what someone had said to me, and I was disturbed. I was vexed. Mm-hmm. And it hurt my feelings because this person was my friend. And she sat me down and she said, I want you to know something. When you change, some people take offense to that because they believe that it shines the spotlight on them. Mm-hmm. And their first question is, well, if she changes, does that mean I have to change? Mm-hmm. And I don't think I'm ready.
Right.
So I need you to stay the same so I can be comforted. Mm-hmm. It takes me out of my comfort zone.
So those critical negative statements to you are about their own fear,
That's right.
Their own discomfort.
That's right.
Their own pathology. Mm-hmm. And we cannot take responsibility for that.
No. And she said, do you really believe that if you looked anorexic, we wouldn't tell you?
Mm-hmm. Right.
She said, come on.
Right.
And she said, girl, that big booty is still holding up those pants. You all right?
There you go.
You're good. You're good. So that's the first one.
So you get these statements, right, from various sources, and it's a matter of being confident enough.
Yes.
To say, who am I going to listen to? If anybody.
If anybody.
Right?
If anyone.
Because I think there is external validation, right? We cannot deflect or block any of the blessings, right? We cannot deflect the positive feedback. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of discerning what is constructive, what is fair, what is kind.
Yeah.
What is based in somebody's good heart, you know?
Their intention behind their statement.
As best we can. Find out. Don't just take that at face value, you know? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But kind of dig deeper if you can.
And it's hard.
It's definitely hard. Easier said than done on most of this stuff.
Which goes into number 2, avoid reacting. Avoid.
Poker face.
And in those moments, and even now, I've learned to, 1, call people out. What do you mean by that? Mm-hmm. Explain yourself.
Yeah.
In a very unemotional, way. Mm-hmm. Who do you think you are? Why do you say that to me? That was hurtful. I want to know, what did you mean by that? Explain yourself.
Can you give me more, a little more? And people will say it's passive aggressive, but can you give me a little more information about that?
Well, David, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. sometimes I'm not being passive aggressive. I really want to know.
No, for sure.
I want to know what you meant by that.
No.
Why
Assertive.
Would you assertive.
Right.
And that's another A word that scares people.
Mm-hmm.
Assertiveness.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another show. We'll get to that.
We'll get to there.
But how do you react? You have the choice of being very, and I'm going to say immature. Immature.
Yes.
Though they were immature for saying it.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Michelle Obama said, when they go high, when they go low, we go high. Look,
yeah.
you see it. You see that was my subconscious. When they when they go low, we do too. And some days I'm here for that. I really am. Petty Dawn. But for the most part, all of us have had nasty things said to us.
Mm-hmm.
How did you react to that?
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't feed the beast,
Mm-hmm.
then they learn to leave you alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to feed that because, first of all, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a choice. That's a choice.
And we're going to feel it. It's going to be hurtful. We're going to feel pain because we're human. It's not like turning off that part of ourselves. But I believe it's knowing yourself and saying, hey, don't buy into that too much because it's not true. You know yourself, right? When you're stronger and more self-confident, you know yourself. There's something else going on with them that they said that, and I'm not going to give it credence.
No.
I'm not going to believe that.
No, because you'll find yourself defending yourself.
Exactly.
Defending, and then you get caught up. Then what I used to do is I would find myself comforting them after they were just so nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. You don't know what they're going through. And it is not, don't take it on. I had a client years ago, Miss Jeanette, and she was from the Caribbean, and she had that deep accent, and she would say, I can't do voices.
Here we go.
I just can't do voices. I can't do accents. I end up sounding like a Russian Jamaican. It's very odd. And all of them sound the same. All of them sound the same, so I won't try. So she would say, Dawn, don't take that on, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, but Miss Jeanette, and she would say, Dawn, don't take that on.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your issue.
Exactly.
Move on. They're trying to wrap you up into something, and you're going to lose focus on what you're supposed to be doing. Is this what you're supposed to be doing? Oh, I just get so mad. No, don't take it on. And that's what you have to do.
Which is, don't take it on. Is a mantra, is a meditation, is self-talk.
It really is.
It is
That's
totally.
affirmation.
Exactly. You don't need to take that on.
It has nothing to do with you.
Right. Exactly. And that, I kind of call it cheerleading sometimes. You're cheerleading yourself.
I think it is a
right?
cheerleading move.
Because
It's a chant.
sometimes nobody else is cheerleading you on.
Oh, I know
right?
that.
And it has to come from us, from within, from the individual.
Louise Hay said when she was alive.
I hope so. Not from when she was dead, but
you don't know. I'm not saying nothing.
So tell us, what did she say?
Most times, pat yourself on the back for a job well done.
Exactly.
I did that.
Exactly.
I'm great.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And the next time I do it, I'm going to be even greater. I'm telling you, after a great session, after a group fitness class, you are riding that wave. Exactly. I mean, it's like, shoot, I'm great.
Exactly.
See the way they were sweating. This is my self-talk. Did you see that? Girl, you did that. You did that. You know me, I take credit for everything. You did that.
No, but it's fair.
It's fair. They come to your class. They come to train with you. That's for a reason. And they love that, and you love them, and everyone's happy. You did that. You've created this atmosphere where people can be comfortable and get fit and healthy. Yeah, you did that. And I think that all of us should pat ourselves on the backs for a
Yes.
job well done.
Exactly.
And why not?
And it could be for the simplest of things too, right?
Oh, yeah.
I got the laundry done.
Because I
Right?
didn't want to get out of the bed.
Exactly.
And I hate doing laundry.
So it's all about perspective, right? Where you're at, what's going on in your life, right? Sometimes it's simple as that.
One of a former client who had really bad depression, and I remember this client saying to me just what you said, today I got out of the bed.
Exactly.
I'm patting myself on the back for that. Did you brush your teeth? I sure did. I took a shower too. I'm here.
Exactly.
And so those, we call them little things. They ain't so little.
Right. Well, the substance abuse recovery world, day by day.
Day by day.
Sometimes it's hour by hour, minute by
Yes.
minute, right?
Yeah.
But it is breaking it down into what I can do right now.
Right now, in this moment. And in this moment, I am happy. So that moment can turn into several minutes. And today was a good day. To quote Mr. Ice Cube. Today was a good day.
Or tomorrow's going to be a better day.
It's awesome because today is going to set the pattern for tomorrow. And I'm going to repeat that pattern.
Right.
But the third one that Mr. Cab Driver
Mr. Cab Driver, yes, number 3.
brings up is consider keeping your big plans to yourself. And I read the little blurb, and it's little, and he says, while many success, I think he meant many successful gurus, just doing, spell check here.
Grammar check, yes.
Grammar check. Recommend announcing your grand plans to the world as a means of holding yourself accountable. Studies show that this hurts more people than it helps. When you let the world know what you want to accomplish, the critics crawl out of the woodwork. I think that could go either way for you.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with telling people my plans because I already know that I'm going to do it. So what
You're committed.
I'm committed. So what David might think really doesn't affect me. I thank you so much, brother. But
Sure.
Dawn is still going to move forward. So I think that has a lot to do with your self-esteem, your commitment, like you said. So I'm kind of on the fence with that one.
Right. And who is surrounding you, right?
That you have to be.
Exactly. And who are you going to listen to? Right? I mean, we all have positive and negative, and they're not all positive and they're not all negative, but they're people who trend, right, in certain ways.
Right.
I can talk to so-and-so about XYZ, but I'm not going to talk to so-and-so about, that.
And not because, and I do the same thing, but not because I'm afraid as to what they're going to say about my plans. This is going to sound mean, so I'm setting it up. Disclaimer.
Okay.
I really don't care what you're thinking. I don't. Your opinion does not pertain to what I'm doing. And you really don't understand what I'm doing. So whatever you say is what? I mean, it's like talking to someone about personal training and writing program designs who isn't a personal trainer. What would you know? You can't talk to me about your clients or what you're doing because I don't have your background. I can listen and I am very much interested. But at the end of the day, what you do has nothing to do with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that's a very firm, most extreme, right? I'm just not going to listen to anybody. And sometimes we do need to kind of slash and burn and be like, no more. I'm not attending to other people.
Right.
But what they believe.
But for me, a lot of it is not even coming from a place of, meh. It's just, I'm moving ahead. But I tend to get like that. I've made the decision. I've mulled it over. I've made the decision. I'm moving forward. And for the most part, I don't
Right.
discuss it.
Right.
I have with you.
Sure, the important people in our lives, right?
But
what do
overall,
you think
no.
about
Yeah, what
this? Or
throw
what-
that out. I'm throwing it out at you.
Yeah.
If you don't agree with it, throw it on back.
Right.
But
Right. And usually I think we do reach out to others to seek guidance, to get clarity,
yes.
right?
But and far and few in between, because you're right, you have to be discerning. You do have to use discernment. And where are they in their lives? And really,
Right.
you need to know where they are,
Right.
because their opinion or their critique might be coming from a very bad place.
Exactly. Or they might be filtering, right, how they see the world, how they see what we're doing as scary, fearful.
Right.
They're fearful as they begin to question themselves because they're threatened maybe
Yeah.
by something we're doing. And so what comes back is that filter.
Yeah. You call it filtering, I call it spewing.
Spewing, right?
Because you do what you do, so you're being nice.
Well,
Number 4 is avoid dwelling on the criticism.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't take it to heart.
Right.
Really don't take it to
Because
heart.
as much as there's a negative critical, there's a positive critical. Like, I think we think critical is bad. It isn't always bad. It depends on if it's constructive, if it's based in any sort of truth, right?
A lot of words get a bad
Right,
rep,
critical,
don't they?
right? We think, ooh, I don't
Like, oh no, it's
critical is bad.
No,
I think it can help us improve. It can help us grow, right?
if you want to.
If you want to, it can help us get feedback if we're opening to listen to it.
Which means you have to
Opening
take your
ourselves.
ego out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you
And that's
really
humbling,
do.
right?
It is, and that's another word that gets it has a bad reputation.
Yeah.
Being humble. Me being humble doesn't mean that I'm groveling, or doesn't mean that I don't have an opinion. I don't know what
Weak.
Yeah. And I remember years ago a trainer saying to me, I don't go to seminars and workshops. And I love seminars and workshops. I do. I love other trainers and Group X instructors standing up and telling me about their experiences, and I learned so much. But for this trainer, they just could not take that. And I don't need someone to tell me. And I said, oh, your ego is there. Your ego, you cannot stand other people. They didn't say you were wrong in your approach. They're just trying to help you grow. But you have to be willing. I love learning.
Yeah.
And if you know something that I don't know, I'm not hating. I want you to help. I want to be down. How can I grow as a trainer? How can I grow as a human? Teach me. That's not criticizing me.
Yeah, because we are and we have to and we must make mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? We must fall down. That's how we learn. Right? From little babies, tripping and falling and learning to walk.
That's right.
That's how we learn.
Well, my mama used to always say, you got to crawl before you walk.
Exactly. So we got to put ourselves out there. We got to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And if our listeners don't know, Brene Brown has her very first TED Talks. It's a 20-minute talk where she kind of blew her up into Oprah World.
Oprah World,
She
yeah.
became really famous after this, where she talks about the power of vulnerability, right? Of
right.
being open to mistakes, having the courage to put yourself out there.
And it is courage.
So it's on YouTube, 20 minutes. Brene Brown, The Power of Vulnerability. I use it with my patients. I say, you need to check this out, And of course, she's going on to write so many books and things like that.
Right.
But shout out to a fellow social worker. She's a fellow social worker.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
So,
I'll drink to that.
but
By the way,
she's-
I am drinking a white wine.
and I've got red, but we'll get to that. So, But no, Brene Brown, Power of Vulnerability, putting ourselves out there, but having enough of a core of emotion, of confidence, of certainty that I'm not going to topple, I'm not going to crumble, I'm not going to fall when somebody comes back at me with some criticism. You know,
man, that takes maturity.
it does.
You
It
have to
does.
grow
It
into
totally
it.
does.
And
I don't think I got it until I was like 30, at least.
I'm thinking.
And there's still people that
Still
still
set
get
you
to
off.
me today.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
I'm
get
working
it.
on it.
Yeah, it's always growing, and there are just certain people, and I love this word, that trigger you,
Yes.
that set you off, and you have to
Yes.
sit down and say, okay, why are you still there? I think about 2 years ago, you might not remember, I called you. And I had just had an experience of that. And I said to you,
Yes.
I was more disappointed in my reaction because I thought I was over it.
Exactly.
I thought I was over it. And this person called me and boom,
Right.
Dawn's temper.
Right.
And I said, oh. And even while I was in that moment and after I was in that moment, I could feel my 20-year-old self
Right. Insecure.
Not wanting them to speak and feeling that they were
Right.
talking over me and my voice
Yeah.
was shaking.
Yeah.
And when I got
That's the
off
emotional.
phone, yeah, my hands were shaking to the point where I had to call you. And I remember being in my closet whispering to David, and then I can't believe it. And
We can laugh about it now.
we can laugh about it, but it took me years to get to the point to where investigate why you're still
Exactly.
feeling
This
that
is good
way.
information. It is good information. Be like, hey, why did I respond that way? Right? Self-reflecting.
Yeah.
Right? Not to be like, why did you respond that way? But like, I responded this way.
Sure
What's
did.
that about?
What's up with that?
What's up?
What were you feeling? And, I know people say, oh, come on, Dawn and David, you guys get so deep. Because it is deep. It is deep. I know that sometimes we don't like to go there, but this is very deep. You need to stop and investigate why you're doing what you're doing.
We do.
Check your patterns.
Mm-hmm.
If you check them and you are honest with self, this is a time to where you could see great change in your life. And I'm going to tell you something. Everyone's not going to applaud you.
No.
Everyone is not going to validate you. In fact, sometimes it's the closest people, and I'm using brackets when I say closest people, that will try to go out of their way to sabotage you. So you have to ask yourself, and I'm not saying let them go, just get rid of them. That's an extreme.
But know the deal.
Know the deal.
Mm-hmm.
My mom always used to say, you need to feed that person with a long-handled spoon.
Oh, right.
Feed them with the long-handled spoon. And Dr. Phil, I love quoting these people because they crack me up. These old Southern sayings.
Right.
When Dr. Phil always says, you can call me an SOB, but you're going to call me an SOB across the street.
Right.
You don't get to come into my space.
Exactly.
And that's what we're saying to you. The fourth one by Mr. Cab Driver is, the fifth, I'm sorry. Consider the source of criticism.
There you go.
And I do like it. It's a short blurb that he writes under this heading. If Stephen King has something to say about your horror novel, you'd be wise to listen. If your Uncle Jim, the plumber, is criticizing your plans for being an architect, why would you listen? That goes back to what I was saying earlier. If what you're doing, I'm not saying that your opinion doesn't matter, and I'm not saying that you don't matter, but if who you are and what you do doesn't really pertain to what I'm trying to do, why am I asking you?
Exactly.
Why are you putting yourself in a situation to be criticized?
Exactly. That's 100% true.
So you need to say, Uncle Jim, appreciate you, love you. Not today.
Because either At best, people just don't know.
They just don't
Let's
know.
give them some benefit of the doubt, right? They don't know. And they're just operating on fear or confusion or lack of knowledge. I don't want to say ignorance, but lack of knowledge, right? That's that.
And I dig the Uncle Jims of the world. They really believe that their opinion matters. And that's high self-esteem right there. And I'm all about high self-esteem. But what you are saying is killing my buzz. And I know. And you create those boundaries. What this all comes down to is that you have the power.
Definitely.
You have the power as to how people treat you. You set the standards, and you have the power to say, no, not today. Love you, though. Now go in the kitchen and make yourself something to eat. Into conversation. Now, if they come back at you, they kind of invited that curse out. There's nothing I can do for you.
Right.
Number 6, find the right people to criticize you, and he put criticize in brackets. Find the right critics. These are often referred to as mentors.
Exactly.
Yes.
What's the difference?
What is the difference? I've had 4 wonderful mentors, and other people who I would call shade tree mentors who just came in and out of my life, who showed me a better way to handle things, to do things. You need to do this, Dawn. But the mentors that I did have, that I invited into my life, who loved me enough from the outset, especially when I started personal training, to say, I want you to do this, and I'm going to tell you why. True story. Well, why would I lie to you? But true story, I would have never have done group fitness. I was only going to do personal training. I was at Lifetime in Skokie, Illinois, in school to be a personal trainer. And one of the directors of Lifetime, Michelle Bullington, she lives in Singapore now. She loved me. I mean, took me under her wings and said, not only do I want you to be a personal trainer, but I want you to do group fitness. She was teaching classes. She was the director of group fitness there at the time. And I was like, I can't get in front of all of these people. I can't do that. Again, I just want to.
The negative self-talk, right?
Negative self-talk. I can't do it. And she and her, one of her best friends, whose name is Sabine, and I can't remember her last name. She's from Haiti. Sabine looked at me and she said, no, baby, you're going to do it. We see something in you. They created, now you tell me if this isn't a blessing. Those 2 women created a class that surrounded me. I was still in personal training school. And they would start the class. Front, you know how big Lifetime is. And they would say, Dawn, come up on the stage. And I was like this. Dawn, like, don't you make me come down there and get you. You get on this stage. Dawn is going to teach a segment. And all of a sudden, I just started doing moves, and they had that music. Boom, boom, boom. And I got into it. And she said, you have the personality. You have the moves. You know what to do.
So you faked it till you made it.
I sure
right?
did.
You fake it till you make it.
And I was like,
I love that phrase sometimes, right?
Me too.
You did it.
And I did it. And these were women or the mentors in your life that will tell you, no, don't do that, do this. And I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't do that. And yes, take that personally. Heck yeah, if Stephen King came over, you know what? No, rewrite. Are you going to listen if you're a writer? Heck yeah, you're going to listen.
Right.
I'm going to listen to you because you have made it in your field, or you're growing, and I see that you are growing. I want to know how to do what you do.
Exactly.
Get your ego out of the way. Be vulnerable. Open yourself up to it.
I think when we don't have the confidence, right, in ourselves, right, we are at risk.
Yeah.
We are at risk of getting are confidence filled by others or external, right?
Right.
And so that point of who you surround yourself with is so important, right? Who are the positive people? Who are the mentors? Do you surround yourself with the mentors, or do you surround yourself with the critics, in terms of negative critics, right?
Negative critics.
The positive critics, the mentors, like, who is that, right? Now, sometimes you got to lean on those people to kind of build up that internal, while you're building up that
Yes.
internal strength.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm going to skip ahead because it correlates with what you just said. Find people who truly support you.
Right.
I always say you're not going to have to find them. They'll find you once you change your pattern. And I can't remember who said it, but they said to me, look at your life every 6 months and see who's changed in it. At first I was like, every 6 months. And they said, not the base people, your children, your husband, your wife. Whoa. We're not talking about them. At least we hope they're not changing.
Well, you never know.
You never know. In today's market, you just never know. But we're talking about people who maybe you thought supported you, or they were a reason and a season people. They came in, they did what they were supposed to do, and now they're out. These are all people to be grateful for, by the way, because you learned something. But look back every 6 months. And every 6 months, you will find that you have changed, which is why they're no longer there. You have evolved.
Right.
I've done that.
And use that
true. Yeah.
to move forward. Whatever comes your way, right? The negative, the positive. Use it. The fear, the worry, the hate even.
Yeah.
Use it to move forward.
I have used my anger. Yeah, don't consume it.
Don't eat it. Don't absorb it. Right?
That is so funny that you used that term. I've been asked over and over, why haven't you gained the weight back? What changed? And I said, because I stopped eating my issues. I stopped eating my worry.
Coping mechanism changed.
Mechanism changed. I stopped eating my issues. I became truthful. Because fat, and I can say this because I've been there more than once, fat is just a manifestation of what's going on mentally. For most of us. And it's true. We love food as well, but we abuse it. So figure out the clients that I've had, and I call it a failure because as a trainer, we do take it personally. And then I had to realize it really had nothing to do with me. I did my job. And when I have let clients go, and I have had the last session with them where I set them down and I've explained to them why I will no longer be their trainer. Some have reacted very nasty to me.
Sure.
Because they were in a bad place and they weren't ready to receive the truth. But I had to say, you're not ready for me. You're not ready for change. You're not ready to hear what I have, to hear what I'm saying to you, to feel what I need you to feel, to get this weight off of you. You're not ready to deal mentally with everything you need to deal with. You're just not ready. And this is what I recommend. I recommend that you go talk to someone, because this isn't just about food. This is about your mental state. But you have to be willing to take that in.
Exactly.
Some have cried. I've cried with them.
Sure.
And it was all good. But when you get that reaction, that anger.
That's informative.
Yeah.
Right? That's good information.
Yeah. You really aren't ready.
Right.
And that's okay. Because you can't fake it until you make it. You need to get this done. And that does go into who you're surrounding yourself with. What are you hearing? What are you taking in besides the food? Because we know you're taking in the food.
Exactly.
Or the cocaine or the liquor, whatever. Because it's an addiction. And let's be real, a lot of us get addicted to drama.
it's a hit. It's a different kind of hit than what we think of, right? But it's a hit.
It is a hit. And
so we got to cut through it, give it up, gain something new and better and different.
So cut the critics out of your life if you can.
There you go. And if you can't,
long-handled spoon.
Right.
Long-handled
just know the
spoon.
game.
And it is a game, but it's all in how you play it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, well, not sometimes. For me, it's all of the time. I'm not taking it personally, because I've chosen not to play. But some people are all right with it, and they don't. That is also an extreme, cutting everyone out. That is also an extreme, and
Sure.
everyone is not like me. I am an extreme personality. But if you're not, and you can deal with your mom coming down on you and saying what she says, or your wife, your husband, your sisters, your siblings,
Mm-hmm.
and you're all right with that, and you know how to detach yourself,
Mm-hmm.
play the game.
There you go. Right. It's a different way of coping
It is.
with the drama.
Yeah.
With the negative.
But what did you have to say?
No. So I think for our homework, right? I think in terms of all of us continuing to monitor, learn how to catch our negative self-talk, right? What are we saying that's unfairly critical of ourselves, right? That's not to say that, we shouldn't take responsibility and holding ourselves accountable as you talked about in the first session. But you made a mistake, pick it up.
Today is a new day.
Today's a new day. You can start over. It's that simple and that difficult.
Yeah, right. It's that simple and that difficult. That is so right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be. I don't know. I've been called Pollyanna recently.
Mm-hmm.
I like Pollyanna. I have that movie on DVR, so whatever. I love the idea and how I feel when I recognize the issue, but I don't roll in it like a pig.
Mm-hmm.
I don't roll in it. I recognize it. I acknowledge it. Yes, you are here. How do I feel about it?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's move on, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Let's find some coping mechanisms. Let's learn to talk this out instead of holding it in and eating your words.
Definitely.
How are we going to deal with it?
Mm-hmm.
Is what you're saying to yourself true? So this is part of your homework, ladies and gentlemen. Write it out.
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of people don't like keeping journals. I love journals. I've kept a journal since I was about 12.
Mm-hmm. But the written activity
word, that's
is
right.
important.
And it's powerful because when you go back and you read what you wrote, I've done that. I've sat down. My own words made me sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Growth.
Mm-hmm.
And some things, maybe not so much growth.
What are those questions? What are the lies we're telling ourselves?
And then what's the truth?
What is the truth, right? Follow-up I like to give people is, what's the evidence? What's the evidence for that, right?
Yeah.
I'm fat, I'm ugly, I can't do this. What's the evidence?
No one likes me.
No one likes me.
You.
Right.
I'm alone. You're not really alone.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that do love you.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to reach out. This is work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've recognized with a lot of us. Sometimes we don't want to put in the work. We
Right.
just don't want to. But understand that all of this is work.
Push through.
Push through.
Little by little. Don't judge.
Especially yourself.
Yourself, maybe your expectations were too high. But at the very least, right, answer a few of these questions. What am I lying to myself about, right?
I hope you're writing this down.
And tracking our thoughts, right? What was overly critical? What was kind, right?
Yeah.
Just tracking. It's an exercise. It's a muscle of kind of just tracking what we're thinking.
What is that quote? As you're spending time being kind to everyone, expend some of that kindness on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You deserve kind words.
Mm-hmm.
Can you not be kind to yourself?
The words we say to ourselves, we would probably never say to anybody else.
Never.
Never.
And I have an example of that.
Yeah.
Several, but I was thinking back on the affirmations I used to say to myself as I was losing weight and I had gotten outside, after trying not to be embarrassed about being outside. That's so weird how we do that to ourselves, but we do. And I'm power walking and trying to do the WOG, which is walk jog.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel my butt jiggling. I feel it jiggling, and I'm running. I'm trying to do my thing. And one of my affirmations was, excuse my language, girl, you move that fat ass. You better move that fat ass. I'm calling myself fat ass. How is this a positive thing? How is this helping me? Mm-hmm. The whole time. And I would whimper, I can't do it. You better move that big old butt. You got it. It's behind you.
It was lovingly.
Was it? Okay. I just called myself Fat A. Why did I throw the B word in there while I'm there?
Right, I know, right?
It's crazy the things that we say to ourselves.
No, it's true.
I would never say that to anyone else.
Yeah.
So it's okay to say it to myself? Ugh.
No.
No, it's not okay.
No.
So, pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
There you go.
You are needing to do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
And the homework is listening to your inner voice and writing down the nasty things you say to yourself. And see catch it. How many per day do you say?
Pokemon. Gotta catch them all.
You gotta catch it. And then go over it. And I want feedback, seriously.
Yes.
I want feedback. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. The wine of the week.
Oh, yes.
David.
Well, I will give my red a shout out. This is the original Dark Horse. Merlot. Merlot, California.
Not Merlot.
Merlot. Very nice.
It's
Very
nice.
Good. Yeah, it mellowed out once we opened it up.
Okay.
So it's good.
Okay,
It's
so
good.
David took the hit for the team.
There you go.
And he's been sipping on that. He likes it. My book, and I actually have 2 books here. My 2 new books, one not so new, and I love this book. It's dog-eared, is Having Our Say.
That's an oldie.
It is an oldie by the Delaney sisters. And I know they've both passed away now, and they live to be 100 and something years old, both of them. I'm going to tell you something about this book. As an African American or ADOS, and I'm not a bot, we won't even start that conversation. To read history like this, they were there.
Mm-hmm.
And it is fascinating. It's funny. Their memories are funny and insightful. It is a piece of American history. So it's Having Our Say. And then my second book is Heads of the Colored People, short stories. And this was actually a gift from Mr. Bedrin to me. And her name is Nafissa Thompson Spires. She does live in the great state of Illinois.
She's an academic.
She is an academic, or Illinois for the rest of us. This book, I haven't started it yet, but it's in my stack. So everyone says it's lovely. So these are the 2 books. So if you guys get to it before dawn, please tell me all about it. You have your homework. And my contact, or David and I, our contact info is Dawn's Fit2beFree at twitter.com. Our Facebook page is DD Fit2beFree, Back to Basics. So you'll see the Back to Basics first. DD Fit2beFree. David, do you have any place where they can see you?
None yet.
None yet.
I'm being secretive.
Oh. Well, we're going to let David keep his secrets. After a few more drinks, though, he won't be.
But we can get in touch
Yeah.
via Facebook and Twitter, and
So, any questions, concerns, please, please,
let us hear from you.
Let us hear from you. I love hearing from people, and I do get a lot of DMs on Twitter. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
And wishing all of you peace and love, but mostly peace.
You have a wonderful day wherever you are.
Thank you. Mwah.
See you next time. Bye.